welcome to another episode of Street Sociology. Today on the agenda, climate change. Now, climate change has become a partisan issue of late, sort of the last 15 years especially, where you've got the more progressive side of politics is convinced it's real, the science is real, and the conservative side of politics thinks the science is fake. One of these two viewpoints has 99% of the world's climate scientists in agreement with it. One does not. Good. We've achieved what mankind can't do and prove climate science is real. Okay, good. Look, why is it a partisan issue? It's because certain elements of the conservative media have used it as a political wedge for a good 15 years now. They didn't have an enemy, so they invented one. Okay? And now we've got left climate extremists who want to destroy the economy by, say, moving into technology that the market both demands on account of being cheaper and more efficient, which if you're a conservative you should agree with. And so here we already found a bit of muddy water, haven't we? So why do they deny it, the conservative side? It's because most conservative media is owned by a man called Rupert Murdoch. Okay, he owns a business called News Corp, formerly News Corporation. They own Fox News, you'd probably be familiar with, and in Australia they own the Herald Sun, the Australian, the Courier Mail, the Daily Telegraph, papers like that. Okay. Now they tend to be very much tabloid, whereas the progressive papers tend to be very much broadsheet with factual information, and this comes back precisely to what I talked about last time, which is the use of language. Okay. Now, if you get a copy of, let's say, for example, The Age, okay, and it discusses climate science. It's going to be, following scientists have used the following method to prove, beyond question, that the following scientific theory is correct. Okay, that's not ridiculous. Conservative paper, they go to an emotive argument. Again, I spoke about this previously. The scientific argument on the progressive side. On the right, on the conservative side, it's emotive. It's not, this science is factual. They try and muddy the waters. We're not quite 100% certain that in 50 years this will be exact, so let's do nothing about it, give up, keep funneling in huge amounts of our own money and government money into subsidies for coal and mining corporations. I'm aware, thank you, that it is Australia's biggest export. I gathered that. That doesn't change the fact, okay? They're still trying to push an agenda using deflection and obstruction and strawman arguments. Let's say there's one this summer in Australia where arsonists caused most of the fires. Okay, that's literal fake news. You want fake news? That's that. About 5%, according to the fire service and police, was started by arson. The News Corporation papers in Australia have been falsely saying that it's in excess of 85% have been started by arsonists, when they know that's not true. So why? Because the truth is, there's arsonists every year in Australia. There are wankers who think it's funny to go out and start fires. Always has been, always will be. So what's the difference this year? Why is it that while I'm talking to you, I'm surrounded by a pall of smoke? It's about the thickest I've seen since Black Saturday. Why is that? Because the climate is drying. Okay, now people talk about, the top temperature in Australia was 50.7 degrees recorded in 1967 in Eden Data. Yeah, okay, true. True enough. But the point is with climate change, it's not just you get the occasional peaks in top temperature every 30 years or 50 years like you did 100 years ago. No, we're getting near these records every 1 to 3 years every year. Last year was our hottest ever year on record. 3 times in 1 week, in fact, on average temperatures. It was the lowest ever rainfall in Australia. And what happened? Fires. Now people say, but the arsonists started the fires. The rainforest, they went up there. And it's like people try and start fires there every year probably, but they've never lit because you can't burn a rainforest. Well, as of this year, the rainforest is so goddamn dry that you in fact can. This is exactly what they said would happen 15 years ago. There was a famous report commissioned by Prime Minister Kevin Rudd in Australia in 2008. Okay, that report stated that the first evidence of the rapidly drying and warming climate would be visible in the form of fires by at the latest the year 2020. Started in the middle of 2019, getting real bad. this is beyond a joke now. We need to just stop this partisanship. You don't have to like the left to know that climate science is factual. You don't have to not like conservatives to think it's factual. It has to... Screw all that. We need to get on top of this. You think it's bad this year? What do you think it's going to look like in 10 or 15 years? Australia is the proverbial canary in the coal mine insofar as climate change consequences are concerned, and look what's happened in the last 6 months. So we need to drop the partisanship. And that's good because, interestingly enough, this week, one of the senior staff members in News Corporation Australia actually sent an internal email castigating News Corp for deliberately ignoring the science that they knew was real. I think that's pretty good evidence that something's rotten there. Except there's actually one more, and that would be that James Rupert Murdoch's son came out this morning against News Corporation and Rupert Murdoch for their consistent climate denialism and ignoring of science. The man's own son and heir to the corporation that made its hundreds of billions by denying science has called it out. Don't listen to me, listen to him. Now, final thought. I'm going to make this real simple. Climate change does not start bushfires. It makes them worse.